Welcome to today's Explainer. We're doing something a little different right now. We are completely replacing that chaotic, exhausting hustle of modern self-help. Instead, I want you to picture a really calm, beautiful anime-style Japanese landscape. Imagine a disciplined samurai executing just one single flawless movement. That serene, almost cinematic atmosphere, that's the exact energy we're capturing today. We're about to embark on a very gentle, peaceful climb toward absolutely unstoppable momentum, all using an ancient yet super practical Japanese philosophy. So let me ask you this. Have you ever set a massive goal, like completely overhauling your diet overnight, or deciding you're gonna run 5 miles at 5 a.m. every day, only to totally crash and fail by day 3? Well, don't worry, I see you. We've all been there. But the truth is, that failure wasn't laziness, it was overwhelm. Setting massive goals actually triggers fear and burnout in our brains. It's not a character flaw at all, it's honestly just a really bad strategy. Okay, let's dive into section 1, the trap of massive goals. Why exactly do our ambitious attempts to overhaul our lives overnight usually crash and burn? Well, it's because we so often buy into this modern boot camp mentality. We kind of think we need shock and awe, radical reform, and sheer willpower to suddenly write 2,000 words a day or hit the gym for 2 hours straight. But going from 0 to 100, it usually just leaves us completely exhausted, discouraged, and right back where we started. Instead, I really want to introduce you to an open secret. It's called Kaizen, which translates roughly to change for the better. This simple concept was actually used to rebuild Japanese businesses to totally unheard of levels of productivity, and today it's used daily by people all across the globe. It is literally the ultimate antidote to the overnight overhaul. Which brings us to section 2, enter Kaizen, small daily steps. So we are stepping completely away from those aggressive, white-knuckled bootcamp mentalities today. Instead, we're adopting a calm, incredibly mindful approach of continuous improvement. Think of it less like a frantic marathon sprint and much more like a slow, elegant, deliberate movement. Let's define exactly what we're talking about here. Kaizen is improvement through small, consistent, and comfortable daily steps. It's not some high-octane productivity hack that's going to burn you out in a week. No, it's a philosophy of making tiny, almost invisible changes that completely bypass your mind's natural resistance to doing hard things. You don't have to climb the whole mountain. You really just have to take one small, manageable step today. If you think about the innovation mindset we're all so used to, it's radical, it's shocking, and honestly, it is an exhausting reform. But contrast that with Kaizen, gentle, continuous, incredibly small steps, where innovation demands you basically sprint up a sheer cliff face until your lungs give out. Kaizen is a path that winds so gently up the hill, you hardly even notice the climb. It's soft to tread and just an incredibly pleasant way to make progress. All right, section 3, bypassing the brain's fear center. Now, what's really fascinating here is the neuroscience. Why does sheer willpower constantly fail us? And why do these tiny steps actually succeed? Well, it all comes down to how your brain handles fear and perceived threats. I absolutely love this quote from a clinical patient in one of our sources. They said, "The steps were so small, I couldn't fail." You see, when you set a massive, unrealistic goal, your brain activates its threat response. Your amygdala actually sounds an alarm, triggering fear, doubt, and massive procrastination. You literally scare your own brain into giving up before you even start. But by keeping your actions laughably small, you allow yourself to tiptoe right past the amygdala's alarm bells. You keep the fear center entirely asleep. And while it's sleeping, your cortex starts working. You get this awesome little dopamine boost from a tiny win, and your brain actually starts building new neural pathways, basically installing new mental software without triggering any resistance at all. It's a real game changer. Moving on to section 4, the 1% compound effect. So we know it works psychologically, but let's shift gears from the neuroscience into the mathematical reality. How do these tiny, fear-free, seemingly insignificant steps actually accumulate into monumental, life-altering results? Well, 37 times. That's the mathematical magic of compounding right there. If you improve by just 1% each day, you don't just become 365% better at the end of the year. Because compounding builds on itself, just like interest in a savings account. A 1% daily improvement actually leads to a massive 37-fold improvement over the course of a single year. Literally, compounding tiny excellence is what creates big excellence. let's get practical with Section 5, how to practice Kaizen daily. Okay, let's transition from the philosophy and the math into the real world. How do we actually put this into practice today? And this brilliantly illustrates the whole concept perfectly. Let's take flossing, a habit so many people constantly struggle with. Instead of forcing yourself to suddenly floss every single day, look at this 6-week Kaizen progression. Week 1, just leave the floss by your toothbrush. That's it. Don't even use it. Week 2, pick it up and put it right back down. Week 3, floss one single tooth. Seriously, just one. By breaking the task down into these almost absurdly small steps, you completely guarantee success. You build the habit without any of the dread. Let's rapid fire a few more incredibly grounded micro habits straight from our sources. Want to start exercising? Just do 3 push-ups or maybe 3 bodyweight squats. Want to be healthier? Drink exactly 1 glass of water. Need to clean your room? Put 1 single piece of dirty laundry in the basket. Trying to reduce sugar? Remove just 1 tiny grain of sugar from your morning tea. Remember the fundamental physics principle here. An object at rest takes way more energy to move than an object already in motion. Going from doing absolutely nothing to putting just 1 piece of laundry in the basket, that is a 100% improvement. Now, as you start these tiny actions, keep in mind that Kaizen really thrives on feedback and removing friction. Using a simple visual habit tracker and tracking just 1 tiny metric per habit completely minimizes the friction of wondering if you're actually making progress. Did you do your 3 push-ups? Check the box. Doing that provides a really tangible dopamine hit that reinforces the repetition. Your brain literally loves seeing that growth. Now let's move to Section 6 and see how this builds into changing your fundamental identity. We're definitely approaching the summit of our journey here, because the ultimate realization is that Kaizen isn't just some neat productivity trick for getting a cleaner house or drinking more water. It ultimately transforms who you fundamentally are. Small steps literally lead to big identity shifts. When you practice Kaizen for 30 days, all that heavy pressure completely vanishes. In fact, our sources show that people actually double their productivity and completely quiet their mental chatter, simply because they stop waiting for motivation to strike. You permanently replace that lazy identity with one of quiet daily purpose. You actually stop trying to fix your laziness and you simply outgrow it. This brings us to a really beautiful mindfulness anchor, perfectly captured by Lao Tzu. A journey of 1,000 miles must begin with the first step. You see, Kaizen aligns so beautifully with mindfulness. It teaches us to find meaning in the progress itself. You aren't desperately rushing toward the finish line. You are entirely present in the moment, executing your small, elegant step for the day. You stop judging yourself for not being there yet, and you finally start respecting yourself for just showing up. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this final thought. What is the one tiny, laughable action you will take today? Pick something so incredibly small it feels almost silly to even write down. Let go of all those heavy expectations, take that single, imperceptible step, and start your own gentle climb. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. I absolutely cannot wait to see where your tiny steps take you.